Searching around the school, Fujimori was looking for his gym gear but had no luck. As he checked the sports ground, he spotted Kurumi, the school idol that stood out for her beauty and charm. Fujimori couldn't help but to blush at the sight of her, noting her dignified presence and how beautiful she was. He believed that she was the girl of his dreams. As he thought about talking to her today, some classmates bumped into him, knocking him down. They half-heartedly apologized, but none of them remembered his name right. Laughing at him, they admitted they can't remember a gloomy kid's name, leaving him in the dirt. Fujimori then talked to himself, believing that no one could hear him, and he agreed with the students that no one would remember his name or even know it to begin with. But Kurumi heard him. As she rushed home and stormed into her room, she mentally declared that she knows his name, and a lot more than that, as her room was filled with pictures of Fujimori, as well as things she managed to collect or steal from him. It was then revealed that Kurumi was the one who stole Fujimori's clothes, and with a blushing, twisted face, she confessed her love for him. Meanwhile, Fujimori set himself the goal of getting Kurumi to know his name by graduation, but he had no idea that she actually knew everything about him. The next day in class, Fujimori was panicking as he couldn't find his rubber as he needed it for class. Seeming to notice his plight, Kurumi gracefully dropped one onto his desk and glided on past him, not making eye contact at all. Fujimori couldn't believe it. Kurumi actually lent him a rubber. He realized that she somehow noticed his issue and decided to help, showing that she had a personality as beautiful as her appearance. However, he stopped celebrating when one of the bullies from earlier said his actions were creeping them out. Another student told the bully to chill out, but the bully just retorted that seeing Fujimori all giddy was annoying. Fujimori then believed that Kurumi found his actions annoying too, and that's why she lent him the rubber, to shut him up. Fujimori then returned the rubber ASAP, along with a note thanking Kurumi, rather than facing Kurumi and saying it to her directly. That night at home, Kurumi was elated to receive her rubber back from Fujimori, revealing that his was missing because she stole it, and then got him to use hers so she got two for the price of one. Fujimori, however, was happy that he got to borrow and smell Kurumi's rubber, but questioned if he should have given her a gift as thanks, not knowing that she already took her gift in the form of his rubber from his pencil case. Fujimori was out on his monthly shopping trip, realizing that he'd spent a lot, but it was all worth it. However, as he left the shopping center, he spotted something. It was revealed to be Kurumi, looking stylish in her casual clothes, and Fujimori was over the moon to see her. Fujimori freaked out and questioned why she was here and if he should approach her, but as he went to reach out, a memory struck him. He recalled people complaining about a gloomy guy they encountered and how his mood had ruined their day. Remembering that, he decided that he didn't want to ruin Kurumi's day. Turning away, he began to walk home, reassuring himself that his action was the best for Kurumi, and it's best that they don't run into each other. However, back at Kurumi's home, her true face was revealed, and she was overwhelmed with emotions as she drew something. It turned out that Kurumi had been following Fujimori the entire shopping trip, tracking his every movement. As she recalled the whole event, she commented to herself that Fujimori looked cool in his casual clothes. Meanwhile, Fujimori skipped home happily, daydreaming of himself and Kurumi shopping together. Fujimori found a quiet spot in the school and began to practice greeting Kurumi. He decided to try what would be the best way to do so, while unbeknownst to him, he was being recorded by Kurumi in a tree. As he practiced, he turned to see what made a noise behind him, only to see two of his classmates, with both being stunned to see the other. Then the bullies began to trudge off, complaining about talking to Fujimori and not wanting anyone to think that they're friends with a gloomy-looking guy like him. Fujimori was disheartened by the interaction and decided to not greet Kurumi anymore, but he was still unaware that Kurumi was recording him from the tree. That night, Kurumi began listening to the audio file she got, playing it on repeat over and over again. It turned out that Kurumi had turned her alarm into Fujimori's voice, so she can awaken with a blush on her face and a flutter in her heart. as she continued to listen to it daily. Fujimori, however, was thinking that if saying good morning was a hassle, then maybe blending in with the others and saying goodbye with them won't be such an issue. In class, Fujimori talked to his friend Yamamura, the Giga Chad, who told him that he found girls easy and he was actually confessed to 10 times yesterday alone. Fujimori told Yamamura that he was incredible and asked him for advice. Yamamura then told him with a serious face that if he wants to attract a girl, he needs to hook them in with a conversation. Yamamura told Fujimori that if he talked passionately about his hobby in front of a girl he likes, they will fall for him and he will be on the ins with them. Seeing that Kurumi was in the classroom, Fujimori began to follow Yamamura's advice and began to talk loudly about manga and gaming with him, but Yamamura softly said his name, stopping him. Yamamura asked if Fujimori's girl of interest was Kurumi, and he admitted it was, but that he really just wants to get to know her better first. Yamamura told Fujimori that it was a vain attempt, and she'd only want a Giga Chad like him, which Fujimori sadly agreed to. Then, they decided to head to the bookshop on their way home, unaware that Kurumi was still eavesdropping on them. In the shop, the boys looked around at the manga there, not noticing the disguised Kurumi buying all the manga that Fujimori had talked about. On the way home, Fujimori asked if mentioning that a character looked like Kurumi was a good idea to attract her, and Yamamura warned him not to, as it might be seen as creepy. Neither were aware that Kurumi was actually pulled in by Fujimori's passionate talk that he had in the classroom. In class, it was seat-moving day, and Fujimori was happy to have gotten the back row by the window, number 18. As he moved his table and chair into position, he knocked tables with someone, only to look up and see Kurumi moving her desk to a nearby position. Seeing that it was Kurumi, Fujimori exploded with surprise, but then realized something. That this was his chance to get closer to her, so he should treat her properly, like right now. In his overexcitement, Fujimori managed to slam into the desk as he greeted her, with the force of the bow managing to move her hair. However, once he finished his introduction, he was only met with silence. However, the silence was deafening, and now he didn't want to exist anymore. As Fujimori tried to recover his fumble, Kurumi spoke, saying that she knows who he is. Fujimori took psychic damage from the knowledge that Kurumi knew his name. However, one of the bullies came over to him to complain about his seat position and asked to swap with Fujimori, but since he didn't answer quick enough, the bully asked again, more forcefully. The bully then mocked Fujimori, saying that no one would want to be next to a gloomy guy like him, before asking Kurumi if she agreed with him. Fujimori started to agree, thinking that Kurumi wouldn't want a guy like him sitting next to her, but he finally started to grow a spine and told the bully that he wouldn't hand over his seat ticket number this time. The bully then attempted to forcefully take the ticket, only to find that Fujimori didn't have it anymore. As the bully was dragged away screaming by his friend, Fujimori also questioned where his ticket went to. What Fujimori hadn't noticed in the whole scuffle was Kurumi quietly leaving and sneaking home, finding solace in her room, her personal shrine to Fujimori, and she panted heavily with the thoughts of what happened and with what she stole in hand. It turned out that Kurumi was the one who secretly stole Fujimori's seat ticket, and she was going wild over it, since Fujimori had tried to protect it to stay near her. She declared that she won't hand it to anyone. It's all hers. Meanwhile, at the Fujimori household, he realized that he finally spoke to Kurumi and decided that they should have red rice, a symbol of engagement or marriage. His mum, however, didn't know why her son was acting up and shouted at him to calm down. Tomomi Fukuda was a student who had perfected her beauty. Natural, gorgeous hair, makeup that looked so natural it couldn't be seen, and a countryside charm that could woo any suitor. She had approached Yamamura, asking to borrow a color pen while flashing him her cutest look. Yamamura fell for the ploy, hook, line, and sinker, and believed that Fukuda liked him. While he thought this, she was just thinking that tricking him was easy, and she found that targeting gloomy guys was her specialty. Later, Fukuda was in the hall and spotted Kurumi, latching onto her and greeting her warmly. Fukuda thought about how Kurumi was her friend and how since she's so cool and beautiful, she's Fukuda's idol. However, since she latched onto Kurumi so aggressively, Kurumi dropped her notebook, so Fukuda decided to pick it up for her. Picking up the notebook, Fukuda spotted a picture sticking out of it, and the picture was of Fujimori, surprising her. Fukuda accurately thought that Kurumi might have feelings for Fujimori, but then talked herself out of it and asked if Kurumi was just picking up a picture she found on the ground. However, as Fukuda turned to Kurumi, she saw her blushing like a maiden in love, causing Fukuda to question what was going on. She found Kurumi's reaction so cute, but questioned why she liked this gloomy guy. But as she went to question it further, Kurumi took her notebook back from Fukuda. Unfortunately for Kurumi, she didn't grip the notebook hard enough, and multiple Stalker-esque style photos fell from it, much to both of the girls' horrors. As Kurumi began to silently panic, Fukuda began to think that Kurumi was plotting to murder rather than secretly and obsessively document her love for Fujimori. Kurumi ended up explaining that she did like Fujimori, but Fukuda couldn't accept the truth. Kurumi was puzzled by Fukuda's reaction while she was asked if she really liked Fujimori. Fukuda then argued that Kurumi should date a man that is worthy of her and not the gloomy Fujimori. Kurumi asked if Fukuda was lying when she said that she liked everyone, but Fukuda told her that she has an ultimate goal, to get a gloomy guy that has a promising future, and that anyone that doesn't fit that is only a background character to her. Kurumi called Fukuda complicated, as she continued to freak out. Fukuda then decided to investigate Fujimori, much to the surprise of Kurumi. Standing outside of the classroom, Fukuda was irritated and horrified at the sight of Fujimori, while Kurumi could only blush, out of a mix of embarrassment and the sight of her love sitting there. Fukuda then made an attempt to instill reason into Kurumi, saying that she should find a high-spec guy that's handsome rather than some gloomy geek. Unfortunately, Fujimori overheard part of it and began to mope as usual. Fujimori agreed that he wouldn't be deserving of Kurumi's love, and Fukuda sensed that he was being self-deprecating again. Fukuda, determined to keep her idol shiny and unblemished by pests, announced that she won't accept Kurumi's crush being a loser, and decided to take action and approached Fujimori. Turning on her charm, Fukuda asked Fujimori and Yamamura to have lunch with her and Kurumi. The boys almost exploded with joy and surprise, while Fukuda schemed to get Kurumi to see the negative in Fujimori. Fukuda acted all loving and sweet to Kurumi, offering to swap food with her, while Fujimori and Yamamura could only watch awkwardly. Fujimori then realized the situation and questioned why the pairing of idols and gloomy geeks was happening right now. Fujimori questioned why they were all having lunch together, but Giga-Chad Yamamura told him the reason that he believed why it was happening. It was because Fukuda was in love with him, because why wouldn't she? As Fujimori accepted the explanation, Fukuda feigned interest and asked if Fujimori was good at anything, but he failed to answer and just said that he wasn't good at anything. Fukuda, seeing a chance to explode Fujimori's patheticness, began to bombard him with questions, wanting to know if he had any redeeming qualities. Since he failed to answer any of her questions, Fukuda declared in a sickly sweet voice that Fujimori doesn't have any qualities of note, so he must be worthless. Fujimori weakly agreed while Yamamura took the chance to brag about his Chad gaming skills. However, Fukuda was stunned when Fujimori's spine developed a bit more and loudly declared that his lack of skills is why he admires Kurumi more, especially since she's so confident. Fukuda, thinking that she's finally revealed why Fujimori sucks, commented that Kurumi doesn't like guys with no skills or talents. Wishing that her idol finally saw the truth, she turned to look at Kurumi, blush on her face and hope in her eyes, seeking confirmation for her comment. However, Fukuda was filled with a mix of dread and shock as Kurumi began to list off all of the answers to Fukuda's questions from earlier. As Kurumi's eyes were filled with overwhelming love and intimidation, Fukuda was silenced and could only listen. As Fukuda tried to understand what happened as her image of Kurumi was changing, Kurumi wore a smug expression, while Fujimori didn't hear anything as Yamamura was still rambling on about his own skills and abilities. Hey all, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd like to thank my channel members, which at the moment there's only 3 of you, but still all the same, thank you very much. It might seem like it's only a little, but it helps me a lot, so I really do appreciate it. So I hope you enjoy this, and the only thing I'd like to add is there will be a second part to this video out hopefully next week. So I hope you enjoy it, and members, you'll get to see it a bit earlier. So thank you very much, everyone, and I hope you have a good one. Take care.